Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making an amazing peanut butter cake. So let's get started. First off, grab a small saucepan, and we're gonna add some ingredients in there and get them nice and smooth. Starting off with half a cup or 113 grams of unsalted butter. I also want 3/4 of a cup of creamy peanut butter. That's 198 grams. I think it's way easier to weigh it, by the way. Perfect. I also want 1 cup of water. That's 240 mils. This is an odd combination of ingredients to be putting into a pan. We're gonna bring this over like medium-low heat, stirring constantly until it is smooth and amazing. I also preheated my oven to 350 so it's nice and toasty because this batter comes together super fast. This cake has an amazing melt in your mouth texture, and part of that delicacy comes from this combination of butter, water, and peanut butter. It's packed with flavor and it's warmed up so that it'll mix in really easily and just do some magical things to your cake. You gotta trust me on this one. It melts up pretty fast. We just want this to be nice and smooth. Be about 3 minutes of stirring. My peanut butter's nice and melty. 2 cups or 240 grams of all-purpose flour into a big bowl. 2 cups or 400 grams of sugar. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. This will give you some leavening here. And half a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna give this a whisk. Scale's done. Oh my gosh, by the by, the frosting on this cake is going to blow your mind. And I will give you some tips for incorporating chocolate into this later. The last thing for the batter is the butter, so we're gonna whip that up right now. Wait, is that right? Bring that bowl back. I was gonna mix up the butter, but the butter is in that pan. It's a little bit different. Now we're gonna add 2 room temperature eggs in here. I get so many questions about egg substitutes. This recipe uses 2 eggs, and I think that 1 large banana or 2 small bananas mashed up will work really well in there. If your bananas are not overripe like you use for baking, just bake them for 10 minutes at 350 until they blacken and then scoop them out. That will be a delicious banana peanut butter cake, but you'll skip the eggs. Half a cup of milk, 120 mils. And I also want to add in a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm so excited to be using my homemade vanilla now. Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell this. It is heavenly. Okay, 1 teaspoon. And a blessing. We're gonna mix this up for about a minute until it's nicely combined. Maybe a little bit less than a minute. Okay, and now we're gonna add our peanut butter mixture in here. It might look a little bit lumpy, don't worry about that. It tends to want to separate out because of the water. Now we're gonna mix this for another minute or so until it's incorporated and smooth. And actually, I want to scrape this bowl down. In this recipe, I used like a processed peanut butter. It's like one of those forever smooth ones. If you wanted to use a natural peanut butter with no additives, you can totally do that, but just use whatever magic you have to get it to be completely smooth. No oil on the top, peanut compressed stuff on the bottom. It needs to be really homogeneous and nice. Crunchy work? I think you could use crunchy in this recipe as well, although, I don't know. I just worry that the peanuts might get too much water and soften up a bit, so they wouldn't be as crunchy as you might like. Look at that, I did it all by hand. I just so happen to have a 9 by 13 inch pan all prepped out. You can use baking spray, you could butter and flour it or just butter it. I love taking these out of the pan for presentation, so I just cut and fold some parchment paper and plop that right in and they come right out. And these are practically clean after baking, so it's super easy to wash. Now we're gonna pour the batter into our prepped pan so it spreads to the corners. We're gonna pop this into the oven 350 for about 40 minutes or until the center is set and slightly springy to the touch. This cake is peanut butter perfection, but if you want to add chocolate, I'm not going to say no. You can add between half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of either chocolate chips or a nice chopped chocolate. Oh, it's going to be so good. And yes, it can go into the frosting as well. My cake's out of the oven and cooling. In the meantime, we're going to make the most amazing peanut butter frosting you've ever had in your life. So we need 1 cup of creamy peanut butter, no chunky peanut butter right now. That's 264 grams. It's gonna come out the way it comes out. It's not gonna be pretty. There's no way to get it right. 1 cup of room temperature butter. This is unsalted. If you want to use salted butter, you totally can, but like some brands of peanut butter have a lot of salt in them, so I would steer clear and add salt to taste. Okay, and now we're gonna mix this up until it's creamy, homogeneous, and consistent in our stand mixer. You could also do this with an electric hand mixer in a big bowl though. I'm gonna take this to medium high and mix it for about 3 minutes until it is smooth, light, and fluffy. You're gonna be using this frosting on cupcakes and just like piping it right into your mouth. It's that good. Don't forget to scrape your bowl down. It's important. This just needs to mix. Look at this. Do you see this whipped perfection? Come on, that's amazing. Look at that, and compare it to the original color of the peanut butter. That's very nice. Part of the secret to this frosting's deliciousness is that it's not overly sweet. So we're actually just gonna add in 2 cups of powdered sugar. That's not a lot. I'll do 1 cup at a time. So it mixes in nicely. So start slow, increase speed, and I also want 2 teaspoons of vanilla again. In a pinch, you could skip it, but it adds so much. So happy. If you want to make your own homemade vanilla, click the link above and watch away. Okay. And now for the 2nd cup. There we go. This frosting is so soft and luscious. You're gonna die. The sugar's all incorporated. I'm gonna mix on high for 1 minute to get this really nice and fluffy. Okay, that's ready to spread, so let's grab our cake. Once your cake is cooled, get it out of the parchment paper. So this frosting's been sitting for a minute, and if you look really closely, the top looks beautiful, but when you start pawing into it, it has like a bunch of air bubbles. That's to be expected. Just get a spatula and give it a whip. You could actually whip it up with your mixer again too, but this works just as easily. And just breaking up the big bubbles to restore a beautiful, silky, amazing consistency. So much amazing peanut butter flavor in here. If you wanted to, you can make some chocolate ganache by melting chocolate and cream and swirl that into the buttercream. That's also very good. Spread that over the top. This cake is begging for a swoopy moment, so get your offset spatula and just start carving right into it. It'll create some beautiful organic movement and to say, come eat me, I am delicious. Give your cake a cut and it's ready to enjoy. You can store this for up to 3 days in the refrigerator. That melts in your mouth, is full of creamy peanut butter flavor, and it might just be the perfect peanut butter cake. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like my videos, check out my easy cake playlist.